Hello everyone, I'm Fabio, I'm 42 years old and I'm the village chef. I arrived in Paraloup in spring and now that is winter and I'm still here. It was a challenge for me to come and work in such a remote place, but I was aware there would be difficulties and I was ready to face them. Living here, I found the new one, but contrary to what you might think, they do not come from the location or the isolation. There is a very isolation here. I find it difficult to be economically sustainable in a world that cares more about profit than quality. Our providers are small and local producers who have higher market costs than big retailers. Being able to keep prices low is therefore not always possible. Fortunately, the tourism reality is made up a select clientele that is more aware than those in the city. But there is still a lot of work to be done in terms of consumer education. My day starts early in the morning. I check the garden and then I enter in my realm, the kitchen. There is always something to do, whether there are a lot of guests or only I have to prepare lunch for the staff or the shepherds. I also try to manage the accounts together with the Nuto Revelli Foundation because economy in the kitchen is one of the most important aspects. Then I contact suppliers and go to get vegetables and meat they have to offer me on the particular day. What I miss most is the city nightlife and having friends nearby. But nothing that can be made up with an half an hour drive. Bye bye.
Hi, I'm Paola. I'm 38 years old and I live in Borgata Paraloup. I've been a resident here in these huts for about 3 years and I've been involved in many things. My role has changed like the season because living in the mountains gives you constant personal and professional challenges. My main task is to look after this place, the heritage it holds, and to make sure that all the elements that build the cultural center work together. While I'm developing the incoming, that is focused on a slow tourism, or while I'm doing the cultural programming, I also do the woods or cut the grass. I'm a point of contact between the life up here, managed by a social enterprise, and the Nuto Revelli Foundation, which is down in the valley in Cuneo, and which is the promoter of the architectural recovery of this place and this cultural promotion. Together with the staff of the foundation, we organize events such as concert, theater, or artistic residencies. We organize also the tour in the interactive museum that we have, and we schedule a lot of educational activity with the schools. For me, working and living here is a privilege because it allows me to carry on my daily life with the ideals of freedom that the young partisans who hid in these houses instilled, and to live according to the rhythms dictated by nature and the people who guarded these lands. We try to do this with the awareness of today's historical context and with the facilities of modernity. Living in a marginal area is therefore not so complex in logistical terms. Perhaps it is in terms of community and sustainability.
Hi, I'm Eduardo. I came from Varese. Varese is a city. It's an industrial situation that I wanted to go away from. So I came here because I would love to stay in a place, in a green place, in particular on the mountain, and it's beautiful to work here and to live here because it's different the way you do both the things. It's nice to meet people, to work with people, and to take breaks sometime and be here. And you can actually live your best life after works, and it's really cool. and I'm also learning to work and learning a job, thanks to the chef and to this weird situation. So I think we stay here, and it feels good.
Sono Gian Vittorio, sono un pastore e appunto d'estate vengo qui a Paraloup. La mia giornata tipo inizia alle 6 di mattina, dove si mungono le mie 100 capre, dopodiché si portano al pascolo le capre con l'aiuto dei cani, si ritorna in caseificio per fare il formaggio, si lavora un po' a tutte le mansioni intorno alla stalla, alle 5 del pomeriggio si vanno a prendere le capre, si rientra nella stalla per la mungitura serale. Questa è la giornata tipo, e quando vengono visitatori a trovarci possiamo portarli direttamente nei pascoli e passare del tempo con loro a raccontare non solo la nostra giornata, ma anche fargli respirare come le capre vivono e quale qualità della vita raggiungono. Vivere in un'area marginale per me significa innanzitutto aver seguito i miei istinti, quindi andare forse lontano da qualcosa e forse avvicinarmi a qualcos'altro. Nella situazione poi di Paraloup c'è un po' insieme la necessità di stare ai margini di qualcosa, ma nello stesso tempo aver trovato una sorta di embrione di comunità che ci consente di socializzare in posti apparentemente distanti da alcune situazioni. Il bello della vita dell'alpeggio è anche quello di sapere che le nostre capre fanno una vita felice e sana in mezzo ai pascoli. Questi pascoli ci regalano un latte eccellente e questo latte poi noi lo trasformiamo in 5 tipologie di formaggio. La cosa interessante è che ogni tanto organizziamo degustazioni abbinate a dei vini, dove lì si mischia insieme la degustazione dal punto di vista squisitamente gustativo con il racconto delle capre, con la cultura legata alle tecniche di caseificazione, con anche l'abbinamento del vino e quindi con tutta quella che è il racconto di una cultura contadina dove si intrecciano proprio cibo, bevande e racconti.